Hey everybody, welcome back to yet another bonus episode on Let's Play Battlefield 1942. On today's bonus episode we have the Battle of Iwo Jima. And let's see what we've got. I've been assigned to the Allies yet again. They seem to assign me to Allies on this map a lot. And I'm starting, well, it's close to the beginning of the round here. The Allies are bleeding tickets, and we've actually, the Axis has done a good job of maintaining a ticket lead. Typically the invading force, in this case would be the Americans, you want to get a foothold on the island and stop the bleeding while you still have a lead in tickets, and you can hold on to the lead by taking advantage of your uncapturable bases. But in this case, the Japanese have maintained a ticket lead. They've bled us down. I really don't like getting stuck on the landing beach. The landing beach flag is only capturable by the Americans, and it doesn't count for or against ticket lead. So we have to capture another point, and just after I spawned in, we captured the airfield, which is where I would have liked to spawn in had the timing been right on that. Alright, now they're using their tank to defend the Mount Suribachi flag. And he spotted me, so I presume he's just going to be hanging around there. I'll just take the landmine just in case I need to use it later. And the defgun is active, so I can destroy that with one or two X-packs. Just hope that the tank isn't watching. Alright, there we go. That should give our battleship some breathing room. But there's really not much I can do about this tank at the moment. Normally what you want is to have one of your planes go after that tank, because it's a sitting duck, it has no cover. And that tank definitely took care of that Jeep. I think the plane may have taken out the, yeah, took out the tank. That's exactly what you need to have happen. And I kind of wish that I were a medic here. The guy apparently spawned in right behind me. There's not much you can do about that, really. It's difficult to take that flag unless you neutralize it before they see you, because they can spawn in all different directions. And a little bit of bad luck, so he spawned in behind me. If he'd spawned in front of me, I would have stood a chance. As I mentioned in a previous episode, there's a huge radius of different areas you can spawn in if you hold the airfield flag. And in that instance, spawn all the way up on top of the mountain, but they have a couple Jeeps up there for easy access. Alright, I'll see if we can take care of this flag and then move on and pin the enemy in the mountain flag, which they retook. I'd hitch a ride with that guy, but you never know about those drivers. It's got to be a really good driver to make it all the way up. And I've got long-range weaponry anyways, because I didn't spawn in as a medic. Right, now their defgun is destroyed. I can see that from the wreckage. See, even though I just aimed at a tiny little dot there, you could still just barely make it with your aiming. That shows you what an effective sniper weapon the engineer rifle can be. And since our defgun, yeah, there we go. Our defgun respawned before theirs did. So as soon as their defgun respawns in, I'm gonna aim and destroy it as quickly as possible. Alright, it's just spawned in. And I was a little bit off, need to go a little bit higher. Yeah, a little bit higher. Smoking now, you can see just in the distance. And there we go. Killed the guy who was inside of it. And this is a classic standoff position with the defguns. Oh, got a guy. There are two defguns that seem to have a lot of action on this. I'll explain once we deal with this tank. Well, he won the tank duel, but yeah, the defguns are extremely effective if you aim toward their treads. And I'm impressed that they're already firing bazookas long range. That's usually a last-ditch, desperate move, like we saw in that Invasion of the Philippines episode way back when they had all those bazookas going after the defgun. And already killed the guy inside the defgun, so as soon as it respawned in, someone jumped in, and that's not a good sign for me. If I'd been off and the defgun immediately spun around and started firing back at me, we would have had a defgun duel. This is one place in the game where you see a lot of defgun duels between these two defguns. Often it's just a case of whichever defgun happens to be active while the other one is dead. And as soon as it respawns in, you just knock it out immediately. For instance, if that defgun on the top of the mountain had been the one that was active and mine was dead, as soon as mine respawned in, he might have knocked me out. And then he could immediately take advantage of that. Alright, definitely overshot it. And another guy, I think it was the same guy, Chli Vili. So alright, so now we've apparently got at least one guy who's camping the defgun. And he's just sitting there waiting and waiting for it to respawn in. And I suspect that as soon as he gets another chance, he's going to wheel around that defgun, aim it right at me, and try to knock me out. Their whole team was spawning in on the mountain because that was the only flag that they have. The Japanese have no uncapturable bases on this map, so that's why the defgun's been racking up so many kills. And it also has a really strong deterrent effect as well. A little bit low. Right, at least it hasn't seemed to... Uh-oh. Alright, now the other problem we've got here is they've got a tank that spawns in. And I got saved by the friendly Jeep doing a little effective kamikaze work that time. I didn't have a friendly tank to help me out, so it was definitely came in handy there. As I was saying before, the defgun, well, when it's not dead, it has a strong deterrent effect. It really forces the enemy, makes them afraid to go down that main path, and really limits their options. They've got to sneak around a lot. Alright, so now I guess we're going to have to deal with the fact that the defgun has been destroyed, and the defgun on top of the mountain is going to respawn in, and if he wants to, he can camp my defgun this time. And we've got a hostile tank coming down too. Fortunately, it looks like the defgun on the mountain is focusing on our battleship, which is not even being driven at the moment. Alright, the Chaiha, that's the Japanese version of the tank. It looks like it got killed somehow. And that's going to give me an opportunity to head back over to the defgun. And stay tuned for part 2.